Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. I hope I am audible, I hope I am visible. A very good evening to all of you. So I welcome you to the MCQs on Finance Current Affairs series, which we take on every Friday 8 p.m. Good evening everyone. Good evening Shalini, Chetan. I hope you all are good. Okay guys, so if you want the PDF of this session, you can download our Oliveboard application और वहाँ पे आपको इसका PDF मिल जाएगा. You can also download the previous year question. Plus on every Wednesday 8 p.m. I do the PYQ session as well. Okay, so in this Friday session I covered the 2024 का previous year question paper, and in the coming Wednesday I'll be covering the 2023 का paper most probably. Okay, so let's quickly start the session. The first question for today: the ECF was created to guide the central bank for its own threat management purpose. This structure balances the protection and support. Which of the following correctly describes the function of ECF in a central bank? Which of the following correctly describes the function of the ECF in the central bank? Options are in front of you. Let me know the correct choice. The first option is operationalize the monetary fiscal policy corridor through transfer and monetary benchmark for supporting the government. Option B, to determine the RBI's internal provisioning standards for asset related risk and fiscal impact on the government's financial position. Option C, to integrate the external sector shocks into RBI's exchange rate policy while prioritizing the credit deployment at government level. Option D, to regulate the interbank lending limits and credit exposure threshold for regulated entities under the RBI supervision and taking care of the government's financial position. Option E, to establish a process for the RBI reserves against the risk before making the distribution. So what should be the correct choice here? So I'm getting a mix of answers here. Option A, Chetan is saying E, Mukund is saying A or D. Okay. What about else? Everyone has to reply today. Guys, the correct choice here is option E, to establish a process for the RBI reserves against the risk before making any kind of distribution. So RBI considers here the risk, it creates a reserve before making any distribution. Okay. Right, so option E is the correct choice here. Next, as per the RBI proposed relaxation norms, regulated entities like banks and NBFCs can invest in alternate investment funds up to a definite limit. The prescribed rule applies if such investment directly benefit the borrower already linked to the institution. According to the RBI's proposed norms, what is the maximum limit of an individual regulated entity for unhindered investment in AIF beyond which prescribed conditions apply? Option A 5% of the AIF corpus. Option B 10% of the AIF corpus. Option C 15% of the AIF corpus. Option D 10% of the regulated entity's net worth, or 10% of the regulated entity's tier 1 capital. What is the maximum limit of an individual regulated entity for unhindered investment in AIF, beyond which prescribed conditions might apply? So I'm getting most of the answers as 10% B. क्या लगता है सभी को? B is the right choice or it's the wrong choice? It's a trick question. If you will be reading the last line very carefully, this is a googly question. Maximum limit for individual regulated entities for unhindered investment. Unrestricted, unhindered. Right? So this is a googly question. That's why I have written here maximum limit, and I have clearly written individual regulator just to confuse you guys. Right? The correct choice here is option A, 5% of the AIF corpus. Okay, 5% of the AIF corpus is the correct choice here, because they have asked for unhindered investment, unrestricted investment. ठीक है, चलो आगे चलते हैं. सर एक्सप्लेन, देखो यार कल बताया था ना मैंने, 5% तक आप अनरिस्ट्रिक्टेड कर सकते हो, है ना. देखो समझना, एक चार्ट बना देता हूं. 5%, total 10%, and then there is this much, which is, let me draw it with another color. Look, so this is for individual, basically individual RE regulated entity. So till 5% there is no restriction. However, total is 10%, right? But if I talk about the entire 15%, that's for all the REs, right? So here the question is asking for unhindered investment limit, right? It's a trick question, right? So a trick question hai. Correct choice here is 5% of the AIF corpus. Next is, India's merchandise export performance show a clear sectoral dominance. What was the total India's merchandise export for financial year 24-25? What was the India's total value of merchandise export in financial year 24-25? Looks like you guys are good with numbers. Option E is correct here. $437 billion. Okay, option E is the correct choice here. Perfect. Next is, SEBI has revised the electronic book provider norms to make private placement of debt securities more transparent. Key additions include disclosure timelines, anchor investor rules, and limits on the green shoe option. What is the maximum limit for the green shoe option in a private debt issue as per the SEBI revised circular? What is the maximum limit for green shoe option in a private debt issue as per the revised SEBI circular? So I'm getting only one response as of now. Chetan is saying it's option D, 5x. What about others? Okay. D or E, Shalini is saying, okay. What about other guys? The correct choice here is option D, 5x of the base issue. Okay. Sorry. 5x is the correct choice here. Next question. The US is proposing a tax change that may impact Indian remittances. What is the proposed tax rate on the remittances by non-senior citizens in the US as per the Trump's administration suggestion? A very easy question. If you guys are reading one good finance newspaper, business newspaper, then definitely you will be able to answer it. Network lag. Okay, so are you all guys facing the network lag issue, or is it only at the Mukund's app or Mukund's end? सिर्फ मुकुंद के एंड पे या फिर सबको लैग मिल रहा है? Because everything is fine at my end, I think. Network is also fine. Green shoe option is a situation under which the issuing company can increase the issue size. Yes, Chetan, perfect. You have done the homework. Okay, got it. So the correct choice here is 5%, right? Remittance tax of 5%. Next is, under the Government of India supported line of credit through Exim Bank, loans are offered to foreign countries for specific purpose. These are tied loans requiring Indian participation. What is the primary condition attached to the Government of India supported line of credit issued via Exim Bank recently? Acha, after this session we'll try to cover the finance terminologies as well, stock market related terminologies as well. Okay, so last tak bane rahiyega. Definitely we'll be learning some more terminologies today. Okay, so it's not just an MCQ session, it's an MCQ plus some learning session as well today. Here the correct answer is exports of good and service must be from India as per the FTP. Okay. Next, the revised EBP norms introduce a cap on the anchor investor based on the credit rating of the instrument. This ensures fair participation and balanced risk taking among all the investor categories. According to the revised SEBI EBP guidelines, what is the maximum anchor investor limit for A+ rated instrument? For A+ rated instrument. The correct choice here is option D, 40% of the base issue. Okay, 40% of the base issue. Next is RBI proposed norms provide flexibility for the AIF set up for prescribed purpose. Which of the following is true about the exemptions under the RBI AIF norms? Which of the following statement is true about the exemptions under the RBI AIF norms? Options are in front of you. I'll be giving you 1 minute. Have a quick look and let me know what should be the correct choice here. Remember that we need to identify the true statement from the following given options, right? So there was a word which we studied yesterday. If you remember just that word, you will be able to answer it easily. So some of the questions that we have already covered were on a bit higher level, I can say that, right? So we do it few times so that to give you an exam oriented environment. Why? Because sometimes in examination also few googlies come, right? कुछ googly question आते हैं. Yes, Chetan. Strategic purpose, right? Option A is the correct choice. Strategic AIF as prescribed by the RBI will be getting exemptions under the AIF norms. Though these norms are as of now draft regulations, they are not final yet. However, they'll soon get finalized, okay? And they are important. Next is, the RBI aims to prevent evergreening through AIF. We have learned that what evergreening is all about. Hence, strict provisioning is required if certain conditions are met. What must an RE do if it invests more than 5% in an AIF that also lends to its existing borrower? There is a regulated entity. They are investing in a company, let's suppose Prateek Limited. They are giving loans to Prateek Limited. They have invested in an AIF. The AIF is again lending loans to Prateek Limited. Now that's a conflict of interest situation, I can say, right? Not just a conflict of situation, but yes, it can result in evergreening, right? So what if RE invest more than 5% in the AIF? Yes, very good. The RE needs to make 100% provision, not just to make a provision, but we need to make 100% provision of such excess amount. Let's suppose 7% was the investment amount. However, you are permitted only up to 5%, right? So this excess 2% पे आपको 100% provision बनाना पड़ेगा. You need to make 100% provision for that. Next question. India has allowed a foreign bank to set up a wholly owned subsidiary in India recently. Which international bank has received in principle approval from RBI to set up a wholly owned subsidiary in India? Yes, that's option B, NBD Bank. Okay, NBD Bank here is the correct choice. Next is, in RBI's AIF provisioning rules, only debt exposure is considered. Okay, only debt exposure is considered. Which type of instruments are excluded from RBI's 100% provisioning rule in AIF instruments? Which of the types of instruments are excluded, not included, from RBI's 100% provisioning rules in AIF investments? Is it hybrid instruments, compulsorily convertible preference shares, or convertible debentures with call option, or callable preference shares, or both C and D? Yes, all the options are confusing here. और नहीं होंगे तो कैसे मजा आएगा, right? So sometimes we need to play on a higher difficulty level as well. Why? Because things can get tough in the examination. और आपको बताता हूँ, examination के अंदर एक simple सा question भी बहुत tough लगता है. अभी इसीलिए काफ़ी बार आपको इजीली आंसर्स आ जाते हैं, या फिर काफ़ी बार लगता है कि सर बहुत सिंपल क्वेश्चन है. वाई? बिकॉज थर्सडे को वी आर डूइंग फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स, और अगले ही दिन फ्राइडे को वी आर डूइंग द एमसीक्यूज ऑन दोज फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स, राइट? सो समटाइम्स ऐसा लगता है कि अरे सर बहुत सिंपल है. वही सिमिलर क्वेश्चन अगर एग्जाम में आएगा, एनवायरमेंट चेंज होगा, गैप आएगा कुछ महीनों का, सो मे बी वो टफ लगने लगे, राइट? सो कीप ऑन कंपाउंडिंग योर एफर्ट्स. ट्राई टू मेक इट अ हैबिट कि वीकेंड पे आप पुराने फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स पढ़ रहे हो, बार बार पढ़ रहे हो, ठीक है? द करेक्ट चॉइस हियर इज कंपल्सरीली कन्वर्टेबल प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स. सो आई टोल्ड यू दैट इक्विटी शेयर्स compulsorily convertible preference shares, compulsorily convertible debentures. These are outside the scope of AIF investments. Why? Because RBI has brought this rule for only controlling the loan thing, right? कि लोन दिया है वो प्रॉब्लमैटिक है. अरे इक्विटी इंस्ट्रूमेंट है तो काय का डेट इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, राइट? सर वाई नॉट CND? देखो CND में क्या चीज है, ये कन्वर्टेबल डिबेंचर्स तो है, दीज आर कन्वर्टेबल डिबेंचर्स, बट इट्स नोवेयर स्टेटेड दैट इट इज कंपल्सरीली कन्वर्टेबल डिबेंचर्स. What are compulsorily convertible debentures? That will short be converted into equity share capital. What are compulsory convertible preference shares? They will 100% be converted to the equity share capital, right? तो equity ही होना चाहिए या prospective equity होना चाहिए, right? In some time you guys will be able to convert that thing. You should be able to convert that thing into equity. सो कन्वर्टेबल डिवेंचर्स कंपल्सरीली नहीं लिखा हुआ है, प्लस कॉल ऑप्शन के साथ लिख दिया, मतलब इनको कभी भी कॉल किया जा सकता है, बुलाया जा सकता है, मतलब ये रिडीमेबल है. कॉलेबल प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स कभी भी बुलाया जा सकता है, मतलब रिडीमेबल है, इसीलिए. ठीक है, सो दिस इज अ हाई डिफिकल्टी लेवल क्वेश्चन. सर एग्जाम में इस टाइप के भी आ सकते हैं क्या? देखो आने में कुछ भी आ सकता है. वी हैव सीन द प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन पेपर्स, राइट? पर ये थोड़ा सा इन डेप्थ हो गया, ओके थोड़ा सा इन डेप्थ हो गया, थोड़ा सा टफ हो गया, पर आ सकता है डेफिनेटली, राइट? एंड दैट्स गुड कि वी आर ऑलरेडी प्रिपेयरिंग हाईएस्ट लेवल MCQs एज वेल इन द सेशंस ऑन यूट्यूब, राइट? सो यू कैन गेट अ टेस्ट कि किस तरह के क्वेश्चंस पूछे जा सकते हैं, राइट? So we first cover the circulars, we cover the finance related news on Thursday, and on Friday we do the MCQs. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's moderate, and sometimes it's difficult as well. And that's what the case with exam also. Some of the questions will be easy, some will be moderate, and some will be difficult as well. So there is always a mix. It's not like कि सारे के सारे difficult हो जाएंगे, सारे easy हो जाएंगे. It will be always a mix, right? What was the key item discussed during the 615th मीटिंग ऑफ द RBI सेंट्रल बोर्ड? बहुत ही सिंपल है यार, आई थिंक आज ही इसका डिसीजन आया था, राइट? आई थिंक RBI हैज रिलीज द डिसीजन टुडे इटसेल्फ. एक टाइम था जब प्रतीक सर की क्लास में सारे आंसर सही होते थे. सही है, देखो वही कह रहा हूं ना, कभी इजी लेवल होगा, कभी डिफिकल्ट लेवल होगा, राइट? सो मिक्स में होता है. कभी कभी मेरा मूड खराब होता है तो मैं टफ क्वेश्चंस बना के ले आता हूं, ऐसा नहीं है ना? अच्छा एग्जाम में क्या होता है पता है? इन्वायरमेंट ही ऐसा होता है जहां पे आपको सिंपल क्वेश्चन भी टफ लगता है, या फिर टाइम बहुत हो चुका होता है. कोई 5 महीने पहले का क्वेश्चन आ गया तो कैसे याद रहेगा, राइट? दैट्स व्हाई रिवीजन इज नेसेसरी. दैट्स व्हाई रिवीजन इज नेसेसरी. Here the correct choice is option C, review of the ECF. So I have shown you a press release yesterday in the session की 615th meeting हुई थी RBI के सेंट्रल बोर्ड की, that was related to ECF. Okay. Next is India extended credit assistance to Mongolia for infrastructure development. What is the purpose of 700 million line of credit extended by Exim Bank to the government of Mongolia? What kind of infrastructure needs to be developed? What kind of development is taking place because of this LOC? What was the purpose of this loan, line of credit? Yes. To construct a crude oil refinery. Okay. Next is to enhance the accountability of the market infrastructure institutions. What is market infrastructure institutions? MII, stock exchanges, clearing corporations, and one more thing was there, right? What was that thing? SEBI mandated a clear reporting channel for internal audit. So SEBI made it compulsory to get your books of accounts audited by an internal auditor. To whom must the internal auditor report in the MII as per the SEBI guidelines? So this can be, I can say this is a dynamic question plus a static question as well. But because when you will be reading the chapter corporate governance in banking in your finance syllabus RBI, you will be studying a chapter audit committee, you will be studying a concept audit committee. So वहां पे पता चलता है कि ऑडिटर जो होता है दे रिपोर्ट टू दी ऑडिटर कमिटी, राइट? ऑडिट कमिटी बनती है तो. So there are board of directors in the company, out of which some of the directors form audit committee. The auditor reports to the audit committee because it's an internal auditor. It's an internal auditor. So the reporting will also take place internally itself. It reports to the audit committee. Next, SEBI has defined how frequently internal auditors should interact with the audit committee as per the SEBI norms. How often must the internal auditor brief the audit committee in the MIIs? Yes, third was depository, right? Here the correct choice is option C, annually. Okay. Oh, sorry. Option C is not correct here. It's option D, twice a year. Okay. The auditor will be reporting twice a year. Option D is correct. It's a typing error. C is not correct. D is the correct choice here. Okay. Yes. Next is SEBI has made it mandatory to use the EBP platform for certain large private debt placement. What is the minimum issue size? बहुत ही simple है यार. Threshold for mandatory use of EBP platform as per the SEBI's 2025 May circular. बहुत ही simple question है ना. $20 crore is the correct choice here. 20 crore. Given below are some statements about the recent updates in economy. Which of the following statement is not correct? Yes, Chetan, earlier it was 50 crore, now it's 20 crore. Okay. Which of the following statement is not correct? You need to identify the false statement from the following. First statement: investment up to 5% of an AIF corpus by a regulated entity are allowed without any additional restriction. Option B: EBP platform scope has been broadened to include the infrastructure instrument investment trust and REITs as well. Option C: only 18% of the MSMEs are currently using the digital lending platform, indicating potential for further growth in digital credit adoption. Option D: according to Fitch rating, Indian banks are expected to experience an increase in the credit growth during the financial year 25-26. Or option D: none of the above. What do you think, guys, should be the correct choice here? Look, most of the credit rating agencies predicted that Indian banks are expected to experience a decrease in the credit growth. Why? Because they are offering more secured loans as compared to unsecured loans, so it's not increase, right? I think two credit rating agencies have stated the same thing. One is Fitch and there was one more credit rating agency. Option D is the incorrect choice here, right? Because they are moving towards secured lending. Next, Timelines are critical for maintaining transparency in the private placements. When must existing issuers submit their placement documents on the EBP platform before opening the issue? ये simple है. This is a straight question. Two days or 3 days? The correct choice here is 2 working days. Okay, 2 working days is the correct choice. However, if you are doing it for the first time via EBP portal, then the correct choice here is 3 working days. Okay. Next, SEBI highlighted how many MSMEs are rapidly adopting the digital payments. According to SEBI, what percentage of MSMEs are now accepting the digital payments? So recently SEBI has I think released a report regarding the same. So we have seen that what percentage of MSMEs are now accepting the digital payment, plus we have also seen that there is a lot more penetration required in the digital lending, right? If I'm not wrong. Yes, Mukund, 90% is the correct choice here, right? And I think for digital lending, it was somewhere around 18%. Next, TCS has collaborated internationally to implement AI in banking. Which Mongolian bank has partnered with TCS to modernize its core banking using AI? TCS will use the TCS Bank's system to modernize the CBS with AI. Yes, option C is the correct choice here. Okay, option C is the correct choice here. Khan Bank of Mongolia. Next, NBFCs have been leading MSME credit growth, have been leading the MSME's credit growth between FY21 and FY24. MSMEs lending by NBFC grow at what average annual rate? So I think yesterday we have discussed about the fact that MSMEs are leading the pack when it comes to MSME credit lending. The rate of growth is higher than the private banks. The rate of growth is higher than the public sector banks as well. So NBFCs are leading the pack when it comes to lending to MSME. The correct choice here is option D, 32%. Okay, 32% annual growth is there. India saw a spike in the overseas investment commitments in April 2025. India's outward foreign direct investment commitments nearly doubled in the April 2025 to what amount? To what amount? Here we are talking about the outward FDI commitments in April 2025. The correct choice here is option B, $6.8 billion. Okay. Next, export data showed the sector contributing the most among the 4 key categories. Which sector contributed the highest share in India's merchandise export for financial year 2025? Which sector contributed the highest share in India's merchandise export for financial year 2025? I think it was agriculture, guys, or engineering. I'm not sure about this. I don't remember this particular thing. ये मेरे ध्यान से उतर गया है. Okay, so recheck this one because I'm getting two options as engineering goods. Okay, एक बार ये वाला चेक कर देना. Check from yesterday's PDF. Okay. अगला क्वेश्चन पॉसिबल है गलत हो वाला, ठीक है, हो सकता है गलत हो, कुछ टाइपिंग एरर हुआ हो, एक बार ये चेक करना और सेशन के बाद चेक करना, अभी चेक मत करना. नेक्स्ट, इंडियाज 8 कोर इंडस्ट्रीज showed a sharp deceleration in April 2025. Which sector was major negative contributor to April 2025 core sector growth, which slowed to 0.5%? Negative contributor. So what we do here is we remember the data, we remember the highest contributor, we remember the worst contributor, that's it. Here the correct choice is petroleum refinery products drag down the index, right? Option B is the correct choice here. Next, credit rating agencies can now use a different kind of rating system. Important. What additional rating scale has SEBI allowed to CRAs to use for infrastructure related instruments? What additional rating scale has SEBI allowed CRA to use for infrastructure related instruments? Here the correct choice is option A, expected loss scale model. अरे कल ही तो देखा था, expected loss scale model पे चले गए थे, right? बहुत ही सिंपल है यार. What is the aggregate cap on the RE investment in a single AIF scheme? Important है. Yes, 15% is the correct choice here. Okay, 15% of the corpus. Next is RBI's forex earning have surged in the current financial year. What has primarily contributed to the increase in the RBI's foreign exchange income for the year 2025? The correct choice here is US Treasury yield. Okay guys, so MCQs यहाँ पे end होते हैं. We'll be learning about a finance concept and some of the terminologies also, right? So this is somewhere or the other related to your stock market terminologies. Okay, I think that ये आपको आनी चाहिए, right? So we are having two shares here. Reliance Industries Limited, अंबानी साहब की कंपनी. The current price of 23rd May is 1427 rupees per share. This is the price of one share, right? We are also having MRF here. The price is 1,43,670. तो मोटा भाई की कंपनी यहाँ पे उनका प्राइस बड़ा छोटा है. However, MRF की बात करें तो it's 1,43,670, which makes it India's most expensive share, if I'm not wrong, right? So can I say that MRF Limited ज़्यादा बड़ी कंपनी है as compared to Reliance Industry? Can I conclude that MRF Limited company is bigger than Reliance Industries Limited? Can I conclude that by looking at the share price? Yes or no in the comment section. What do you think? Okay, Chetan, but the share price is almost 10 times, right? Sorry, 100 times. So what criteria I should look into instead of market price? Which financial term I should use for comparing the companies? Looking at the market prices, I can see that MRF is 100 times bigger than Reliance Industries. However, actually it's not true at all, right? We all know that it's not true at all. Yes, Chetan. Market capitalization is the real criteria. Never judge a share उसकी पर शेयर के अमाउंट से कि MRF इतना बड़ा है मतलब कंपनी बड़ी है, नहीं. That's not the real case. This is market price per share, right? If I look at the market capitalization of Reliance Industries, it is 19,30,813 crore. That's huge. However, if I look at the market capitalization of MRF, it's just close to 61,000 crore. 61,000 crore कहाँ आता है यार, और 19 lakh crore कहाँ आता है, right? 19,30,000 crore. So Reliance Industry is bigger than MRF, no doubt, but the shares are having different price, right? So if I talk about market price per share of company, it's 10 rupees. However, for company B, it's 100 rupees. So I cannot conclude that company B is bigger than company A. That's not true. I need to check the number of shares as well. And if I multiply the market price per share into number of shares, then I get market capitalization, and that's the criteria. So here the market capitalization comes to 10 crore. 1 crore multiplied by 10, 10 crore. Here it's only 1 crore. 1 lakh shares multiplied by 100, that's 1 crore. So company A is bigger than company B. I can conclude. Why? Because the market capitalization of company A is bigger than company B, right? Yes, even more than the GDP of many countries. That's true. So here is the market capitalization. How this market capitalization is calculated: market price per share, which is 1427, multiplied by the number of shares. That's market capitalization. Okay. I can see another terminology, face value, here. What do you guys mean by face value? 10 rupees is the face value of the share. What is the meaning of face value here? This is a per share value. So जिन लोगों को लगता है सर हमको ये क्यों पढ़ा रहे हो, मैं बता देता हूँ आपको. आपके कोर्स के अंदर रेशियो एनालिसिस चैप्टर इज देयर, वहां पे सारी टर्मिनोलॉजीज काम आती है, राइट? ऑल दीज टर्मिनोलॉजीज विल बी वेरी एसेंशियल जब वो चैप्टर पढ़ोगे. Okay, par value is used for corporate actions. That's true. But what is par value actually? अच्छा, par value, face value को par value भी बोलते हैं. We also call it as par value. We also call it as nominal value or face value. So this is the price which is stated on your share certificate. This is the price from which you have taken registration from the ROC, registrar of companies. ठीक है, ये आपके शेयर सर्टिफिकेट पे लिखी हुई प्राइस होती है. However, we can see that the market price is 1427. So there is a gap of 17 rupees. 1427 minus 10 rupees. इस गैप को क्या नाम दें? What is this gap? What's the term used for this gap? Any idea? Yes, very good, Aditya. Yes, Chetan. We call it securities premium. Sorry. So anything you are receiving above the face value, it becomes a securities premium. You are charging premium, okay? That's called securities premium. Acha, tell me, as per Companies Act, can we issue shares at discount? That means less than the face value. Less than the face value of share. No, that's not permissible under the Companies Act. Okay, just for knowledge purpose I'm telling you, that's not permitted under the Companies Act. You can only issue the share at premium, right? Next concept is book value. What do you guys mean by book value? What do you think book value is all about? What do you guys mean by book value? Book value means, let's suppose Reliance Industries go bankrupt. So what amount every shareholder will be getting? That's 623 rupees. Every shareholder will be getting only 623 rupees. Sir, but the share price as of now is 1427. It doesn't matter. The book value is only 623 rupee. So what happens actually when a company go bankrupt? I'll calculate all the assets because I now need to close the company. I'll total all the assets. I'll deduct outside liabilities out of it, and I'll arrive at my net assets. That's all I can realize. Let's suppose I'm having 100 rupee as asset. I need to pay outsider 20 rupees, so I can only pay you 80 rupee, guys. That's my book value. So if I divide the net assets for equity shareholders divided by number of shares, I'll arrive at my book value. So in case the company goes into liquidation, every shareholder will be getting only the book value and not at all the market value. It doesn't matter, your market value can be 14 lakh. However, you will be getting only the book value. That's for sure. Okay, that's for sure. That's the meaning of book value. देखो नाम से पता चल रहा है, बुक वैल्यू मतलब बैलेंस शीट वैल्यू. अरे बुक्स किसको बोलते हैं? बैलेंस शीट P&L को, राइट? तो बुक वैल्यू बैलेंस शीट की वैल्यू. बैलेंस शीट में क्या होता है? वी हैव एसेट्स, वी डू हैव लायबिलिटीज. लायबिलिटीज में आउटसाइड लायबिलिटीज. सो असेट्स का टोटल करो, ऑल द असेट्स, एंड डिडक्ट द आउटसाइड लायबिलिटीज. यू विल बी गेटिंग द नेट असेट्स फॉर इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर. That's why it's called book value. Okay, इसलिए इसको बोलते हैं book value. आगे चलते हैं. सर ये मार्केट वैल्यू क्या होती है? अरे कुछ नहीं होती है. दिस इज द प्राइस which is determined by the market forces. Sir, what are market forces? Nothing but your demand and supply. Right? It's totally dependent on the demand and supply. Sir, what is PE ratio? It's price earning ratio. That means market price per share divided by earning per share. Market price per share divided by earning per share. Let's suppose you are having a market price of 100 rupee. However, you are able to earn only 2 rupee per share. That means 50 is your PE ratio. Your PE ratio is 50 times. इसका क्या मतलब होता है? तुम कमा के 2 रुपए दे रहे हो. Still लोग are willing to pay you 100 rupee. You are only earning 2 rupee per share. Still people are ready to pay you 100 rupee for your share. That means your price to earning ratio is 50 times. What you are earning, you are commanding a premium of 50 times in the market. That's P ratio. Dividend yield. What do you guys mean by dividend yield? Is it on face value or is it on market value? Tell me. Is this yield calculated on face value or is it calculated on market value, market price per share? Yes, Chetan, market price. That's why the word yield is there. When only dividend percentage is given, we assume it that it is on face value. As Chetan said that face value is used for all the corporate actions like paying dividends, like paying bonus shares or anything else, right? However, the term yield tells us that this percentage is based on the market value of the share and not the face value of the share. So that's all from my end, guys, for today. Thank you so much for attending the session. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. The questions were a bit of roller coaster type ke today. However, we need to always create a balance. Kabhi simple honge, kabhi tough honge, kabhi moderate bhi honge, and we learned about some of the ratio analysis or stock share related terminology as well. Okay. So thank you so much for attending the session, guys. Wish you a happy weekend. सैटरडे संडे आ रहा है तो डेफिनेटली सैटरडे संडे को सारे फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स जो आपके पेंडिंग चल रहे हैं प्लीज उनको रिवाइज करना, सर्कुलर को रिवाइज करना. थैंक यू सो मच चेतन. आई ऑल्सो एंजॉयड टेकिंग दिस सेशन. Bye bye. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for attending.